exactly to keep a certain place active. That's what i'timar is. So when we do Umrah, we will participate as a unit, as an individual, as a group, in making Al-Masjid Al-Haram active. And let me tell you, it's not only Muslims who say that. The entire world knows that there's no place on the surface of this earth which stays active. Actually, it's not active, it's ultra active, absolutely active, day and night, all the time, like Al-Masjid Al-Haram. There isn't. Okay? So this, we are going to do our share by being part of this maintenance of activity. That's what Umrah is all about. Now we can move to the second slide.
Yeah, okay.
You hold it, please. I say move it to the second slide, you move it. Okay. That's how bad I am. Okay. Now, again, I'm being a little bit too picky, but please listen to me. Don't look at the slide. Okay. Now, in every act of worship, everything, let's say salat, there are pillars and there are obligations and there are practices of the Prophet ﷺ or sunan, okay, that he did, he added, and there are recommendations and there are acts that we are not supposed to do. Okay? Now, a pillar of an act of worship is something which, if we skip, our act of worship is null and void. Let me say, in salat, if I miss ruku' and I go from standing into sujood, don't continue your salat. Your salat is null and void. But if, let's say, after the second rak'ah, I forget, and I stand into the third rak'ah without sitting between, the second and third, it's okay, continue. Because sitting between the second and the third is not a pillar of salat. It is an obligation. It is something I have to do. Okay? But if I skip it because I forgot, because of whatever reason, then at the end of my salat, I can fix that by offering 2 extra sujood, called sujood as-sahl. So in every act of worship, even in fasting, even in zakat, we're not going to get into that. Now, when it comes to Umrah, we said it's equal to Hajj minus Arafat. So let's talk about that minus Arafat and say, what are the pillars of Umrah? Follow me, please. The things we cannot skip, okay? And that's why I said, I want to be a little bit technical. It says to pass the miqat in ihram. Passing the miqat in ihram is an obligation. It is not a pillar. Okay? But what is a pillar is to make the niyyah, intention of ihram for the umrah. I do not just go to the Kaaba and say, okay, where do I start No, wait a minute. You should have made the niyyah in the plane before arriving in Jeddah. So this is number 1 pillar. We cannot skip. Okay, and making the niyyah. Niyyah means intention. And let us remember, for all acts of worship, salat, zakat, siyam, our niyyah is in the heart. We don't say anything. Except the niyyah for Umrah and Hajj, we have to say it. We have to say it. Okay? And in case of Umrah, inshallah, you just say 3 words. You say, Labbaik Allahumma Umrah. 3 words. Labbaik Allahumma Umrah. This is the niyyah. And we have to say it. Okay? And then immediately after we say the 3 words, we just do something which is a sunnah. It's not an obligation. If I have a hoarse voice and I don't want to say it, don't say it. You don't have to worry about it. But Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, okay, said it. And that is what is called talbiyah. Because I just said labbaika. So now I say labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, innal hamda wan ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak, labbaik, which means, okay, oh Allah, here I come unto you in a hurry. I'm not just walking leisure. No, I'm coming in a hurry. Labbaik Allahumma, oh my Lord God. Labbaik, I repeat. Labbaika la sharika laka labbaik. You have no partners unto you. Labbaik. You know, by the way, I'm going to ask you a question to see how many are following me. Okay? لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك, which means that all praise, all favors, all kingdom belong to you, O Allah. You have no partners unto you. لبيك. The question, who's the youngest among us here? Maybe you could, can I ask you? How many times did I say labbaik? No cheating. He's trying to cheat food. How many times? MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Oh, you're the youngest. I should have asked you, but he said 5 already. Okay, so labbaik Allahumma labbaik. لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك. 5 times I'm saying, oh Allah, I'm coming unto you in a hurry. I can't wait. I'm coming, you know, with my heart before my body. Okay? So after we make the niyyah, this is the first pillar of, and that is done, as I said, in the plane before we land in Jeddah. Okay, and then in Jeddah, there will be certain things at the airport and we have to do certain things. Don't worry about it, you will be in good hands. Okay, and then we will move to Mecca. We will go to our hotels, we will put our luggage, we will just, and then we will be so tired physically. But quite often, you know, we tell the body, it's okay, you can wait. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made our body such that we can have control over it. Okay? But our ruh, our spirit, you know, just jumps ahead of us. So we are going to tell our ruh, we will go with you. So I'm going to warn all of us, because I've seen it many times, that there are people who lose the spirit of the Umrah as they get tired flying from Toronto to Abu Dhabi, sitting there and waiting for the connecting flight to Jeddah, exhausted, arriving in Jeddah at 4 a.m. and then going to Mecca. And you know, it is so tiring that many people, when am I going to get to my room? And by the way, he's the one you can yell at. Don't yell at me. No, by the way, I mentioned the word yell in a loving way to say, be careful. Just remember where we are talking about the niyyah. So I'm going to take a little break and go to a warning. For every act of worship, there's a warning. Allah warns us not to fall into that pitfall. For salat, Allah said that pitfall is going with your mind and flowing all over the place and losing your concentration, what we call khushu'. You know, you are praying zuhr, okay, and you start to think about what is mom cooking for lunch, what am I going to have, and this and that, you lose it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warns us, said be careful. Okay, that's the pitfall. For fasting, you know, the warning from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there are many people who fast, but they get absolutely nothing of their fast, except getting hungry and thirsty. Why? Because they are abstaining from eating and drinking, but they are engaging in backbiting and in hurting others, and they do all of that. So they get absolutely nothing, except that they are getting hungry and thirsty. Zakat, many people give their zakat and then they go and say, Brother Ibrahim, I didn't know that such and such really is deserved of zakat. I gave it today. You know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, قَوْلٌ مَعْرُوفٌ وَمَغْفِرَةٌ خَيْرٌ مِّن صَدَقَةٍ يَتْبَعُهَا أَذًى. Don't ever do that. Allah tells us in the Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah. Now for Hajj and Umrah, I'm telling you from now, if you cannot, you have to work on it before you leave. 3 things. You cannot, how many are going as husband and wife here? Okay. You cannot get intimate during or after you make the niyyah of ihram. There are restrictions, and one of the slides is going to show us that. Okay, it doesn't mean that. By the way, I found the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warned us. Why didn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warn us about that during our fasting in Ramadan, even though we are told by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you cannot get intimate during the day, but especially for Hajj, subhanallah, with experience you start to see it. That I've seen even couples who were fighting with each other before going for Umrah or Hajj. Why are you smiling? No, I'm not implying anything. Okay. Now, and once they go for Hajj and Umrah, subhanallah, being in that practice around the Kaaba, around the Masjid Nabawi, you start to feel what you were missing. You start to feel you need to show your love. Allah is saying you can wait. You can wait. Wala fusuq, meaning while you are in the vicinity of the Kaaba, this is the place where you cannot, abolish Islamic rules. You have to live by the rules of Islam. Okay? Wala jidal. Jidal means don't argue with each other. If something, and by the way, I'm going to tell you it will happen, if something unwanted happens to us, okay, don't just go to the person that you can vent your anger. Okay, you didn't tell us that my room is not going to face the Kaaba. I'm facing a wall. Okay, this is not the agreement. Alhamdulillah. You know how many times I ended up in a place just looking out the window, I see absolutely, alhamdulillah. I will go and look at the Kaaba next to the Kaaba. I don't want to look at it from my room. Okay? If we were told that we will be in our rooms at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, and they got late until 5, alhamdulillah. We are, in these 2 hours, going to engage, and I'll be with you. Okay, and we will have so many activities to do. Okay, but, in the beginning, you will be so tired, it's okay. But we will do other things because we will be in an act of worship. Make sure you do not vent your anger on this person. Look how, humble he looks, and how, he's trying to say, we'll take care of him, inshallah. Okay, so no arguing with each other, no arguing with and by the way, you will find, security people at the Kaaba, at Al-Masjid Al-Nabawi, because of the crowds, who will just say, and they will not smile, okay? And you'll say, who are you saying this to? Don't you know who I am? Okay, or they really don't care about that. And you know what? Let them say it the way they say it. Let them organize the way they will organize. Alhamdulillah. We are going to have a smile. That's why I said it's a rule to be smiling all the time, to be happy. Okay? So the first pillar of Umrah we will do in the plane, and there are restrictions, we will talk about that. Then the second one, pillar number 2, we cannot skip it. And that is to perform circumambulation, or circling, or orbiting, or what we call in Islamic language, tawaf. Okay? Okay, 7 times starting from the black stone. We will enter from a gate called probably King Abdul Aziz or King Fahd or, okay, we will enter, but we will not be entering right where the black stone is. No, we will just, and we will be trying to do it together, inshallah. We will go to where the black stone is. I will point to it and I'll tell you this is where the black stone, by the way, anyone who is planning to go and kiss the black stone, I want you now to make the niyyah that you are not going to try. Because you will be pushing other people, and pushing and shoving is not part of our trip. We don't want to do that. But you say, but others are doing it. Let them do it. Let them do it. This is not the right thing to do. Okay? But let me kiss it. No, we're not going to kiss it. We're not going to touch it. All we are going to do is to just wave at the black stone. And then we will kiss our hand symbolically. And then we will start from there with the Kaaba to our left. But isn't right better than left? Why don't we put the Kaaba on our right side and move clockwise? Because it's the Kaaba. We need to put it on our right. No. Okay. First of all, we have to do it like Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who did it counterclockwise. And second of all, I will tell you when we get to Mecca why. Okay? Is it okay to keep it in suspense?
No.
Okay? We keep it for Mecca, inshallah. So we do that 7 times. Now, make sure you take from Brother Imran the booklet and memorize all the specific dua for the first round, and memorize the specific dua. It's about that thick. Okay, so you have to memorize everything. You are ready to do that? You are? You are ready? You're not. So you're not going to go for the trip. So if you can't, no, I don't want to scare you, because many people are told that there is a special dua for the first round and a special dua for the second, and there's no such thing. There's no such thing. And all those booklets that you buy or receive, it's just marketing. Okay? It's just marketing. There's no such thing that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said this. No. Actually, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said one dua, and I'll tell you the dua that he said most of the time. And I know that some of you know that dua. Anybody who wants to volunteer to tell us what's that dua that he said most of the time? Especially between the corner, before the corner of the black stone until he got to the corner of the black stone. You know, that corner before the corner of the black stone is called Al-Rukn Al-Yaman. Yes. So that corner leads to the corner of the black stone, especially all the time. While making that journey to reach there, he made that dua and he kept repeating it, which is that you have to memorize. It's not long. It's from the Quran. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. O Allah, grant us in this life a favor, as well as in the hereafter, and put a shield between us and the hellfire. That's the dua. He used to make it all the time. And then, you don't know any of those dua. You know those shuyukh that stand for half an hour during witr salat, and you say, I wish I can say, the same dua like this sheikh who is in a beautiful, and there are even scholars who say this is not warranted in Islam, to make those dua that rhyme and that sound. It is not what Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to say. Okay, but I don't know any dua. Okay, you know what? Do you know how to say Alhamdulillah? Say Alhamdulillah. You know how to say Subhanallah? You say Allahu Akbar. You say La ilaha illallah. You forgot. You say Allah, 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 Allah. You recite Qul Huwa Allahu Ahad, you recite, say it. You got tired? You know what? We will not get tired, but if you do, just look at the Kaaba. We were told by Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, looking at the Kaaba is an act of worship, just looking. And by the way, the moment we will arrive, I will take you to a place where you will see the Kaaba in full. And there, please, from now, have that special dua for that occasion. Because we are told that when you first look at the Kaaba, the dua you will make, inshallah, will be answered. So have it ready, okay? And there will be special dua as we enter Al-Masjid Al-Haram, and a special dua when we see the Kaaba. I will say those du'as, and you just say Ameen, and I'll explain to you what they mean, so that you don't just, what did he say? I don't know. We'll make sure that nothing is said in Arabic without you understanding what it means, inshallah. Okay? So we will, finish 7 rounds. We started from the black stone, and we will finish at the black stone. And by the way, for those who are claustrophobic, are you going with us to the trip, on the trip? Inshallah. What's your name? Yes. Suhaib. I just said a big word. I'll repeat it, but I'll explain it. If somebody is claustrophobic, that's such a big word. I know you don't understand it, right? No. It means someone who is not comfortable with big crowds, lots of people. They're not comfortable. How many here are claustrophobic, honestly? I want you to trust me, and it's tried according to the laws of physics, that the fastest way to circle something is to be the closest to the center of that thing. So we will try to make our tawaf as close to the wall of the Kaaba as possible. And I'll hold your hand, okay? If you feel comfortable with that. By the way, there you will see many people, culture is different there. You will see men holding hands and say, what are they up to? Okay, it's normal, okay? It's normal. Cultures are different. We don't interpret everything like they interpret here, okay? So we will make it as close as possible, but once we start the tawaf number 7, we will do a spiral move out. So by the time we finish it, we're already finished, out. We're out, okay? We do not just exit the tawaf at 90 degrees to, the lines, because you will see people doing it. But inshallah, we will do it gradually until we are out of our tawaf. After we finish, we will go and look at an empty place to pray 2 rak'at. Because in the Quran it says, وَاتَّخِذُوا مِن مَقَامِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ مُصَلَّى. But, I don't see anywhere here that says, we have to pray 2 rak'at. Because I just finished saying that for every act of worship there are pillars, and there are obligations, and there are sunan, and there are recommendations. So that's why what is here is only the required. We cannot miss it. Okay? So we set here the niyyah of ihram. Okay? The number 2 is to make tawaf. Number 3, which is a must, we cannot leave it. Okay? To make sa'i between Safa and Marwa. And number 4, to shorten or shave our hair for men, and to shorten for women. These are the pillars, okay? These are the pillars. Now, for Umrah, there's only one wajib, or one obligation, only one. And that is what was written here as number 1. This is a wajib, only one. And that is to make our niyyah, which is the pillar, before the miqat. And the pilot or somebody in the plane will tell us we are about to pass over the miqat. So we have to start to make the niyyah, labbaik Allahumma umrah. And then labbaik Allahumma labbaik. We are going to Mecca, so everybody is going to engage if they are going for Umrah, inshallah. So these are, let's repeat, the pillars of Umrah: to make niyyah for Umrah, to make tawaf, to make sa'i between Safa and Marwa, and to shorten or shave. That's it. This is Umrah. We cannot skip any of those. Okay? Let's now say what is the wajib. One only, and that is to give the niyyah before the miqat. Okay? And how many are the sunan of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? I'll tell you. I just mentioned to pray 2 raka'at. Says behind Maqam Ibrahim, but we are not going to do that, because if we will insist to do behind Maqam Ibrahim, we'll be trampled. Because people are making tawaf. Okay? So we'll go and find any empty place, and then we will pray there, inshallah. And then we heard or we read that after and it will be one of the slides, after the Fatiha of the first rak'ah, we recite Qul Ya Ayyuhal Kafirun. By the way, is this a sunnah? No, it's recommended. If you recite any other short surah, it's fine. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, recited Qul Ya Ayyuhal Kafirun. In the second rak'ah after the Fatiha, he recited Qul Huwallahu Ahad. Okay? So we love to just, Abdullah ibn Umar, have you heard the name? Okay? He's the one who used to imitate Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the slightest detail. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was standing, he put his hand here, he will come and he will put his hand there. Okay? That's how much he loved to just make sure everything that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. So, after we do that, there is another sunnah. It's not a wajib. Can somebody tell me what's that sunnah after we pray? Okay, it's not a wajib. It's not something that I didn't think. Yeah, it's okay. You know what? And quite often I do this. It's called Sahn al-Kaaba. The yard, the courtyard around the Kaaba. There they have Zamzam. But usually it's so crowded that we just go to As-Safa, we start our sa'i, and there are 3 stations going and 3 stations coming where there is Zamzam. So we stop there. As we are doing sa'i, it's fine, and we drink Zamzam. Okay? Now, when we drink Zamzam, it is recommended, it's not even a sunnah, it is recommended that we face the Kaaba, okay? And some people say, not everybody, some people say, the only time when you drink, you stand up is when you drink Zamzam. And it is recommended also that you make a niyyah. Ya Allah, cure my liver problem. Ya Allah, cure my fibromyalgia. Ya Allah, I ask you to whatever. Ma'u zamzam lima shuriba lah. Whatever you drink Zamzam for the niyyah, it's for you. It's for you, and we will talk more about that, inshallah, when we are in Mecca. Okay? So you drink Zamzam, and then we are going to go and do the sa'i. Sa'i again 7 times. We start at Safa. We will go together, inshallah. And by the way, don't worry, with all the crowds. Even if you lost yourself, we will have a way such that I'll tell you, we are going to meet for 10 minutes. We will wait for you. Okay, so that we will all come together. And then we will have spots along the Safa and Marwa to stop and wait for, because there are those who really make the sa'i very fast, and there are those who are slow. So that we will finish everything together, say inshallah. Okay, and then at the Safa, before we start, we face the Kaaba, and we recite an ayah from Surah Al-Baqarah, and we say something that Rasulullah said that the most that I and the prophets before me used to say is لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. We will say that. I will say it, and you just repeat with me, inshallah. And then we will say Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, and the same as when we